check out Kneecap Body by Jeremy Smokin.
That's right. It is Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B. This is the NFL Roundtable Talks. I am joined by Shannon, a Bengals fan, and Will, a Carolina Panthers fan. How's it going, boys?
Doing good.
Yeah, I'm well.
And Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B is also presented by Sideline Sports. Don't forget to go to their channel and check them out. Pretty soon you will have my videos showing up there because I am their only Solidly Lions podcast. But anyways, let's get down to it. There has been a plethora of injuries over the past week, and three, none bigger than Jonathan Taylor's out for the season for the Colts. Devin Duvernay's out for the season for the Ravens. And also, Ryan Tannehill is out for the season for the Titans, which is probably why they poached Joshua Dobbs to back up Malik Willis from the Lions practice squad. What do you think about that, Shannon?
Somebody's going to back up Malik, and I just I think if they can run Henry, they can. All they got to do the next 3 games is beat Jacksonville, and if they don't beat Jacksonville, but also if Jacksonville loses 2 and the Titans, I think it's a combination of situations where all the Titans have to do is win one of the last 3, and that's the number 1 they need to beat Jacksonville. But I just don't know if they can. That's what I say.
Will, what do you think about those injuries?
The Colts season. Go ahead, Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead, Will.
I mean, and then Jacksonville, I figured they would get better with their new head coach. Their new head coach, the Eagles' former head coach, and that's all I think Lawrence needed was a good head coach to get his mind in the right direction. And they've got weapons around him, so we'll see. I think,
all right, Will, go ahead.
The Titans are going in a downward spiral, and I think you'll see the Jags, the Texans get better, and who knows, maybe the Colts if they do a few crazy things this offseason.
We got a couple comments that came in, and then I'll get to you, Will.
Yep.
Brian says, hi, Roy. DC said, watch Dobbs play better than Willis. And Mr. Scotty the Bear says, don't bother knocking if the house is rocking. Come on in and talk about our Lions. Hi, guys. Go Lions. Well, we're covering the NFL and some of the Lions talk today. So that being said, Will, what do you think about those injuries that happened this week?
The Colts season is basically done. It's been a rough season. Matt Ryan is not playing as well as they thought. Jonathan Taylor's not having as good of a year as he did last year. Devin Duvernay, that's a receiver they had to help Mark Andrews quite a bit in the receiving core, and that's not going to help him after the year, even though I just think the Ravens are a mediocre team this year. And then for the Titans, you always want someone to back up your rookie quarterback. It may not be the best backup behind Willis, but it's a okay one. It's like they don't really need anyone that important to back up. And plus, I don't expect them to beat Jacksonville because Jacksonville is just rolling right now.
But this week, Jacksonville plays the Jets.
Oh,
yeah.
When they do play,
and if Jacksonville beats the Jets, the Bengals are in.
Yep. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's given the rookies some exposure.
That being said, let's get down to it. What do you think about the playoff picture that's been showing up so far? Right now, Seattle is out and the Commanders are in. And my buddy Eric Dalton says,
It's
howdy, guys.
the whole NFC East then, basically. And then like the Tampa Bay, San Fran, and
No, it's not the whole NFC East because the Giants are out right now, too, I think.
are they? I guess I hadn't looked at. I know.
Or wait,
I
no,
was
it's the
looking at
Giants and
most.
Commanders are in. Seattle's out.
Yeah.
San Francisco's in. Tampa Bay's in because they're leading the division by a
Yeah.
half a game. And who am I missing? Oh, yeah, Minnesota Vikings. So we got Philly, Minnesota, Tampa Bay,
San Fran.
San Fran.
Well,
Then you got Dallas. Oh, yeah, the whole NFC East. It's Seattle and Detroit are a half game out.
Yep.
okay.
And Eric,
So I think
yes, we will be doing the pick'ems at the end of the show here. That's a guaranteed. I do that every Wednesday. I like picking them on Wednesday because there are a Thursday night team.
so.
And Eric Dalton
Yeah,
says, let me get these comments out and then we'll go on to the next topic. I am sweating this weekend's game far more than Green Bay. Giants, Commanders, Seattle all lose. Lions jump in. I agree. And Lion King says, LB Von Houston, Detroit, 3 sacks versus the Panthers. I would like to see 3 sacks split in any combination between Hutch and Houston. That would make me happy. The way the defensive interior is starting to collapse the pocket, it's looking a lot better with Comiskey, Aleem, Isaiah Buggs all collapsing the pocket better, which is opening it up for those guys to come in from the outside. That being said, Will, what are your thoughts about the playoff picture so far?
It's I knew after Seattle played Carolina and Geno Smith went back to normalcy that they were fraudulent. Because look at the San Fran's playing great with a backup third string QB who is Mr. Irrelevant. They signed Christian McCaffrey. Sure, they lost Deebo Samuel, but they still got a great defense with Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, and a bunch of other great defensive players. And I just think Seattle's a team that is not that good. Giants, they're a shaky team. I think they'll go back to normalcy soon. Commanders, they're an interesting team. I think they'll go back to being mediocre soon. So I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit sneaks back in because I think Detroit's better than all 3 of those teams.
I agree.
All right. Does anybody remember what the other topic I wanted to talk about was? Because I can't pull my topics up because I got to use my phone instead of my laptop because my laptop's in another county.
Let me look.
I saw it. Yeah, I looked before I jumped in, and I'm like you, Jeremy. It just
I just had a brain fart.
Power rankings.
Oh, yeah, the power rankings. I find it crazy.
Yeah.
Even though we have a 7-7 record, the Lions jumped from 15th to 7th after beating Minnesota and the Jets. And it blows my mind because there's teams that have better records that are behind us, and that makes no sense to me. But I get it because we are on such a win streak.
I agree.
Right.
And if anybody wants to know the 3 things that happened the week before the win streak started to happen, you can find it on my editorial at the South Florida Tribune under the Milder City Tribune heading, because I actually wrote an article about it. There was 3 things that happened that week. And I'm going to do them by order of importance, not the order they happened. Number 1 was the firing of Aubrey Pleasant, who was not only our defensive back coach, he was our passing defensive game coordinator, which means he drew up the plays against everybody's passing game, and it was bottom of the league through the first 7 weeks. Then we traded away TJ Hawkinson for a 2nd-round pick this year, a 3rd-round pick next year, with giving conditional picks in the 4th round the next 2 years, and next year's pick if they make the playoffs and win a game, which they've clinched their playoff berth because they clinched the division, if they win a playoff game, that 4th round pick becomes a 5th round pick this year. So we can get our 4th round pick back, possibly. And then the other thing that happened, and it was the least important, but it's worth noting, was Jeff Daniels met up on Peyton Places with Peyton Manning and did a curse lifting ceremony in the end zone of Ford Field down towards the tunnel. And it was funny because he said, well, if you just Google it, this is what they say it is. It's 100 cups of water, a cup of salt, some candles, and say this incantation. And he goes, well, if this works, how come you never did that against the Patriots? He goes, because Bill's dark magic is way too strong for any of this light white magic. But all of those 3 things happened in the same week. In the order they happened was actually the curse lifting ceremony, then Aubrey Pleasant got fired. And then the trading of Hot. Eric Dalton says, we only have 3 games left. So soon, should have been here yesterday. And Mr. Scotty, the Bear, says, this is the big one. This is the big one. I'm having a heart attack. Lions top 10 in power rankings. And Eric Dalton says, it's because Pascal, Shark, and Harris all began playing, then added Romeo back, of course. The firing of Pleasant, we are currently the healthiest, one of the healthiest teams in the NFL, never mind the youngest. And Michael Huck says it wasn't water. Yeah, that's the best part, was Jeff Daniels leaned over. He goes, I might be high, but that doesn't smell like water. And if anybody knows, Jeff Daniels is a big proponent of medicinal marijuana anyways. And he goes, no, you're right. It's whiskey, because that's what Bobby Lane would have wanted.
Nice.
Lion King, we have to be somewhat concerned about Green Bay in Week 18. Aaron Rodgers is angry. Hope for a loss versus Miami. I'm actually picking them to lose because they're traveling to Miami. They're going from that cold climate they're used to a warm climate. That doesn't bode well. There's something about Miami when you get a cold climate team going to a hot climate. They tend to struggle with their stamina.
Yes,
and especially in Miami. Miami's so humid that if it's above 70 degrees and you are breaking a sweat, it's like you're breathing water. You almost need a scuba tank to be able to breathe there. I know because I did landscaping in Tampa. That being said, we got through it. I wanted to bring up that big move. What do you guys think about that power ranking move by the Lions? I mean, that's huge.
It is.
Deservingly so.
Oh.
They've been on a win streak. They're showing why they're one of the best teams in the NFL, and power ranking show it.
And Michael Huck says, fuck the Packers. Rodgers disrespecting the Lions during his post-game interview. Yeah, he goes, I can't believe we lost to that team. And Eric Dalton says, Jeff Daniels babysat me when I was a kid. He hung out with my brother. So, yes, he loves the devil's lettuce.
That's funny.
Oh, that's great. Well, let's get to the pick'ems. Thursday night game, Jacksonville at New York Jets. I know who I want to win, so I picked them to win. You go ahead, Shannon.
I will go Jacksonville, hopefully. Gets my Bengals in the playoffs before Saturday. I know the Jets defense is tough, so that's the other thing. So, but maybe Jacksonville has a little bit of to get the Bengals in the playoffs. So, go ahead.
Yeah. Before I get to you, Will, Patty Grimes says, what's up? Michael Huck says Jags. Patty Grimes says Jets. Brian Roy says Jets. And Lion King says Jets, Jets. Who do you got, Will Vogel?
I got Jags in a close one.
I went Jags as well. Scotty the Bear says Jaguars all the way. So we're kind of splitting even in the chat there. I like it. Buffalo versus Chicago. Who you got, Will?
Buffalo by 24 plus. Buffalo is so good right now. Buffalo is one of the best teams in the AFC.
It's hard
like,
to
yeah, give me Buffalo by a lot.
And there he is.
I agree.
My dad finally pops in and says a little late, but here, and he says Buffalo. Patty Graham says Buffalo by 3. I like 30.
3? I got Buffalo by
But I
20
said,
plus.
that's wrong with
I got a lot of Buffaloes, and Lion King says Chi-Town. Wow. I said Buffalo, and it's not going to be close. Their defense is better. Their offense is better. Their quarterback. The quarterback is actually.
I mean, it would. Yeah. It wouldn't hurt my feelings if Buffalo and Kansas City all lost their last 3 games. Cincinnati could win at least 2 or 3 and be like the number 1 seed.
You don't want the Jets. You want the Jets to beat Jacksonville. It has nothing to do with Green Bay. Green Bay plays at Miami. You want Miami to win.
Right.
So, Shannon, you have Buffalo, I'm guessing, too?
Yeah, he said Buffalo by a lot.
Yeah.
New Orleans versus. Oh. You did say Buffalo by a lot, didn't you?
Yeah, I said Buffalo. I said Buffalo.
Okay.
I just was saying it.
Now we're on. New Orleans versus Cleveland. As much as I hate to say it, I'm taking Cleveland because it's in Cleveland.
Yeah, I hate to say it too, but yeah, I agree with
you. Cleveland.
Well,
I got
Cleveland.
Yeah,
that's a clean sweep. Houston versus Tennessee. Raise your hand if you're picking Houston.
Yeah, I'll go Houston as well. I just have no faith.
Bo Gagrius comes in and he says, I wouldn't be sad if Buffalo sends Fields to the hospital.
He's probably going to need it after that game.
Huck says Browns. Ken Balrick says Browns. Eric Dalton says Browns. Lion King says Browns. Brian Roy says Cleveland. Massage beats New Orleans. And Huck's taking Titans. Lion King's taking Tennessee. Scotty the Bear's taking the Saints in the beige water pistol.
That's right.
I chose Cleveland, and in Houston game I did choose Tennessee. I don't even know if we have to say it's Kansas City versus that no-name team that barely beat Detroit in week 4. The Sea Chickens. Who are you taking, Shannon?
I'm gonna go with KC.
Yeah, and it's in Kansas City too, by the way. Will Vogel.
KC.
Yeah, I'm taking Kansas City as well. Brian Roy says New Orleans. My dad says KC, the Titans. Michael Huck says KC Chiefs. Brian Cushion says KC. Lion King wants to ruin the playoff chances for Detroit. He says Seattle. I say, screw the Sea Chickens. It's Kansas City winning because it's in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Patty Grimes says KC by 3 with a field goal. Man, you like that by 3 thing all the time there, Patty.
I know.
We got New York Giants versus Minnesota. Who you got, Shannon?
Probably Vikings, just barely. there's something. I'll go back. Who'd you go with, Will?
I got
Yeah, Will,
Minnesota.
who you got?
I got Minnesota.
I started to go Giants, but I started looking at the playoff picture, and that doesn't bode well. And so I'm picking against them because of the playoff picture. I'm taking the Vikings.
So I mean,
Michael Huck,
I know where
Vikings. Eric Dalton, Vikings. Lion King takes New York Giants. Man, he's really trying to kill us. Vikings. All right, I'm going to skip down a couple to Atlanta versus Baltimore. Who you got, Will?
Wow,
Patty Grimes says Vikings,
it
and Ken
playing?
Ballerick says Vikings.
I despise the Falcons, so Baltimore.
Yeah, Falcons at Baltimore.
Who does Baltimore? Who are they playing?
Falcons.
What? The Falcons.
Somebody said, the Falcons. Yeah, it should be the Ravens, but I'm praying it's the Falcons. Got the Bengals out. The Bengals take care of stuff Christmas Eve.
Eric Dalton says Ravens. Ken Ballerick says Ravens. Lion King says Baltimore. Michael Huck says Atlanta. Too many injuries on Baltimore.
Who do you have?
Oh, Atlanta. I chose Baltimore too, just because I don't trust Atlanta. They don't tackle well. I mean, they got one guy that can tackle. That seems to be Troy Anderson, the rookie that they finally made a full-time starter. The kid out of Montana State. Is Lamar Jackson back? I don't care if he is, because he's a running back that can throw the ball. Tyler Huntley's been doing well in his stead. Vikings, I want to play them if we make it into the playoffs. Amen, Scotty the Bear. You want the Vikings to win. And Scotty the Bear says Ravens. I said Ravens as well. Washington at San Francisco. Raise your hand if you're picking the Commanders. If we are tied in wins with Seattle, New York, or Washington, we don't get in because New York and Washington have a tie. So that'll put them above us. And Seattle has the tiebreaker by beating us. Michael Huck says San Francisco. Brian Roy says San Francisco. Patty Grimes says San Fran. Who do you say, Will?
San Fran.
I do as well. Eric Dalton says San Francisco all the way. Not the Rams. That's 49ers or Washington. And Mr. Scotty the Bear says San Francisco. Then we got the big game on Saturday. Philadelphia at Dallas. Jalen Hurts looks like he's going to play. I'll say that up front. He wants to play. He has been limited in practice all week, but Gardner Minshew's been playing too at practice. So who you got, Shannon?
Cowgirls.
You're taking the Cowgirls, huh?
Just close. By 3. I'm sorry. But yeah.
Well,
I got the Cowgirls, but I'm hoping they will.
Even if he doesn't play, Gardner Minshew is no slouch. This offense still has Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. I got Eagles by 3.
I chose the Eagles as well, and I think it'll be more than that because their defense is nasty and nobody's hurt on it.
Yeah.
They got a better secondary than what Dallas has. Dallas has been giving up yards by the bunch. My dad said 49ers finally. Then he said Eagles. Patty Grimes says Dallas. Lion King says Dallas. Hurts is hurt. Cowpokers win for Eric Sean. And Mr. Scotty Bear says, Philly, I hate Dallas. Me too. Then we got that snooze fest of a game. Las Vegas at Pittsburgh. That is
It's
your
the 50th
Saturday night
anniversary.
game.
Immaculate reception.
Rest in peace to Franco
That's the same.
Harris, by the way, seeing how we're
Yes, sir.
talking about Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's sad. I can't put, it was crazy. He was just on the sports, one of the shows I was listening to.
Brian Roy
I think-
thinks Las Vegas will win. They'll only win as if they're doing a hook and lateral when they're tied at the end of the game and it gets intercepted.
Yeah,
Michael Hutt
You
says
skip on
Pitt
back.
in honor of Franco. Patty Grimes says Las Vegas.
Franco.
Scotty the Bear says Las Vegas. Eric Shelton says Las Vegas. My dad says the Raiders. The Raiders have kind of sucked. They got the same record as Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's been playing really good defense. Their offense has sputtered. Whereas
Yeah.
Raiders, the offense has sputtered and the defense hasn't done well. So I don't know why everybody thinks the Raiders are going to beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh.
I got Pittsburgh
Yeah. That's
in honor of Franco.
I
I'm
got
gonna say
Pittsburgh too.
especially or that's from
They're gonna
And
rally
Lion
us
King
up.
says Pitt.
everything. They got all the stuff.
And Brian Roy says, really, I don't care which one wins. I hear you. Then we got the first Sunday afternoon game on Christmas, which is Christmas football. We got Green Bay at Miami. Who you got, Will?
Miami.
Miami.
I took Miami as well. Because fuck the Packers.
I hate them both.
I hate them both, but I hate Miami a little less. Eric Dalton says Pitt is playing for Franco. Brian Roy says Miami. Michael Huck says fuck the Packers. Eric Dalton says Miami. Patty Grimes says Miami. My dad says Miami. Lion King says Green Bay Packers. He loves picking the teams that could be an issue.
I don't think he's a Lions fan. He doesn't sound like
He is a Lions fan. Sky the Bear says the Dolphins. Next up is Denver at the LA Rams. And Patty Graham says Miami. Rodgers will be busy at the beach taking DMTs. I added that for you, Patty. Denver at the LA Rams. The Baker Mayfield LA Rams, I might add. Who doesn't look like he has a good grasp of the playbook. Who do you got, Shannon?
That's two terrible teams right now, honestly.
Yeah, that is a toilet bowl of a game at 4:00 on Christmas Day.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. I'd probably go watch curling if it's on and see it.
I'm taking Denver
I am
because
too.
if the Rams win, that pick gets worse for Detroit. Now my dad says, now the Rams. Eric Dalton says Denver. Lion King says Denver. Brian Roy says Denver. Patty Grimes says Denver.
Who did you have, Jeremy?
I took Denver as well.
I did too.
Not because Russ is going to win it. I think it's because they have the better, healthier defense at this time. Aaron Donald's out for the season. I mean, there's a lot of star power out for the season. Former Ram, former Bronco, now Bill Von Miller's out for the season. I mean, it's crazy how many people are out.
I've got Denver too.
And Mr. Scotty Bear says Denver for a better draft. Next up, we got the flailing Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the pitiful Arizona Cardinals. in the Sunday night game. I'm taking Tampa Bay because I have no trust, no trust in Cliff
I agree.
Kingsbury. Well,
I've got Buccaneers too.
all right. What do you think, chat? And Eric Dalton says the Rams sucked like a Hoover. Lion King, smoke. Teams fighting for the playoffs will play hard. New York, Green Bay, and Seattle. Brian Roy says Tampax Bay. I love it.
Thanks, bud.
Lion King says Tampa Bay. Cards in an upset. Bucks. Mr. Scotty the Bear says tampons. And real right, red right back 20 says, yo, what's up, buddy? Nice to see you in here. Patty Grimes says Tampa Bay. And the Monday night football game. Well, Real, I'm just been here talking football. We've been making our picks for the week and everything. Yeah, Eddie Graham said Tampa Bay, Brady. Cardinals because I want the playoff picture in disarray. What's funny is if the Cardinals do win, and let's say somehow the Saints and Falcons both win, do you realize there's a three-way tie for first place in the NFC South?
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
And our Monday night toilet bowl fest of the week. And it's not because both teams are toilet worthy. It's because that's how bad the matchup is. It's the LA Chargers at Indianapolis. Who do you got, Shannon?
Who was it on Monday night? I'm sorry.
LA Chargers versus Indianapolis Colts.
I'm just going to say the Colts. Why not?
Wow. You got Jeff Datterday getting his second win since he became a coach, huh?
Yeah. I just said Colts just because.
Eric Dalton says Tampax Bay. That's funny as hell. Patty Grimes says the Superchargers. Michael Hutt says the Bolts. Brian Roy says the Chargers. Mr. Scotty the Bear says the Chargers. Who do you take, Will?
Chargers.
Lion King says Superchargers. My dad says the Chargers. And I took the Chargers as well. Now we get to the two matchups that I always put to last. Cincinnati versus New England in New England. Who you got, Shannon?
Cincinnati.
I kind of figured
That's
you
gonna be
would.
tough up there. Well, it's going
And
to be
Eric
tough
Dalton
up
goes,
there.
yes, I did realize the disarray.
But
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think they'll figure it out. Up there, I mean, I watched New England last week. Their defense, they've still got a solid defense, but their offense is terrible. That's why I'm picking Cincinnati. Plus, I think Hendrickson will be back with the club on his hand.
Right.
Even though we lost.
Will, who do you got? Cincinnati or New England?
Cincinnati.
I chose Cincy as well. Why? Because I hate New England almost as much as I hate Dallas. Eric Dalton says, Chargers, dolts are nuts at losing. I know he meant to say Colts, but Brian Roy says Cincy. Lion King says New England. My dad says the Bengals. Mr. Scotty the Bears says Cincinnati. And Patty Grimes says Cincinnati. When I stopped having faith in New England was the end of that game last week versus the Raiders. They had no reason trying to do that lateral at all. That was the stupidest thing I ever seen in my entire life. If they'd have played for the tie, they had a chance to the win.
Yeah.
All they had to do is fall down. Fall down. They didn't have any timeouts. Fall down. And Eric Dalton says Cincy, Burrow is going to take Bella Cheat's hoodie off. And last but not least, and he says, was that a Patricia special?
Yes.
I believe it was. He took responsibility of it in the thing. DC 8091 says, charge, fuck my fantasy team. The Detroit Football Lions travel to North Carolina to take on Will Vogel's Carolina Panthers. Who do you got, Shannon?
The Lions.
Will?
My Panther fans are going to hate me for this. I've got Detroit. I'm being a realist. I think Detroit's a lot better. I think they're a lot stronger on defense. They've got a better offense. We've only got maybe 3 really good defenders. We only got 3 good defenders, so I got Detroit.
Eric Dalton says, P.S. Burrow gave Patricia a Golden Corral gift card for Christmas. Yeah, that could be. And of course, Mike Valenti, the Bears just told me they are beating you lucky dragons. Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, so I got Detroit.
Brian Roy says the Lions. Patty Grimes, Patricia, offensive genius of the year. Ha, that's great. Lion King says Detroit 42, Panthers 14 in a ferocious
It's going to be a lot
fight.
closer than that.
Michael Huck says a win by 17. Patty Grimes says Lions 33-17. Mr. Scotty, the Bears, says the Lions easily. I personally think it's a slight trap game. It's going to be a lot closer than that. I think if the Lions start to pull away, it'll be mid-third quarter. I have it going down like 31-24.
I have 27-17 Detroit.
27-17?
That's it.
Yeah.
I think it'll be within 10 points. And I'm just, like I said the Lions. So we'll say 24-14 Lions.
And let me say, this is the 3rd time we've been favored this season. It might be the 2nd time we win well favored. Oh, wait. It'd be the 4th time. I forgot about Minnesota. Eric Dalton says Lions. Lions. Jared Goff says, man, I'm so sleepy, but I will throw 4 touchdowns on Sunday. DC 091 says 37-14 Lions, we get a safety. It's going to be the coldest game in Carolina history. Yeah, because that storm that's blowing through, it's going to be cold everywhere. Thank God that the Lions just played in cold weather.
Yeah.
Eric Dalton's more on my page.
Thing,
he said 31-24. Brian Roy says 31-21. And Hatter's House 710 says 27-16 Lions. Well, how about that? 40 minutes and we made it through the whole thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fake accounts lose every time. I'm undefeated in this, DC 8091 says. Sam Darnold, not that good. Panthers defense, not as good as Jets. Nobody even said they were. I think your defense is what you said, 30th? And of course, hater Rico Beard comes in and says Carolina 27, Kittens 9. Go ahead, keep picking against us because every week you have, we've won.
Maybe on Madden. He's playing Panthers.
DC 8091 says get a fucking life tool. Watch yourself. YouTube tends to get people for cussing.
Yes, they do.
I try to watch what I
Well,
say.
what are your final thoughts
Sometimes,
this week, Shannon? What would you like to discuss real quick?
well, me, as far as my family, I said, I work for a warehouse that sends out shoes to the Journey stores and all the malls in Tennessee. So I'm hoping I get at least 3 days off for the holiday, hopefully Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the day after, and I get some family time in those 3 days. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, so on and so forth. Go
Amen.
Bengals today. Go
Will?
Lions.
It's
Oh
a
yeah, thank you.
it's a crazy time of year, but guys, everyone stay safe. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Don't do anything stupid. Like I said, stay safe.
Yeah,
And
I do it. It's like right here in the
yeah,
house.
exactly. But but spend time with your loved ones when you can.
That's
This time of year is not only about family, it's also a time of reflection. It's time to look back on everything you've done throughout the year, see what you're thankful for, what you regret, what you can fix, and what you can do to make your life better. And that is why my mantra has been, ever since I started this podcast, to try every day to be a better person than you were the day
right.
before, because that'll make the world a better place. It starts from within here. I want to thank everyone, my friends and family that have supported me this past year. I want to say I am very proud that I couldn't update it because I'm on my phone, but my banner should read 198 subscribers. I'm 2 away from that 200 mark. And I'll tell you what, if I make it by Friday, I will sing the Gridiron Heroes fight song for the Lions and our Lions fans on Friday on the Man Cave chat. Brian Roy asked me a question. Smoke, do you think we'll get in the Y card before playing the fudge pack? Not that fudge packing is that bad. um, I just read that if we beat the Panthers and then we beat the Bears and the Packers lose to Miami, they cannot get in. Happy holidays, go Lions, be safe out there. Patty Grimes says thanks, amen, brother. Eric Dole says that's TMI. And DC8091 says, hell yeah, Smokin' Jay. Brian Roy says, thank you, Merry Christmas. And I want to say to everyone, as you start to go through your travels, don't forget there is a large snowstorm coming in from the north to the south, starting tonight through Saturday. Please be careful while you're out there. Take your time, drive slower, pay attention to those around you because they sure as hell are not paying attention to you while you're on the roads. It does not hurt to have a little prevention in your life.
I agree.
Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
Detroit. Yeah, Merry
Thank you,
Christmas,
everyone,
Happy
for tuning in.
Holidays,
Thank
and
you for all the comments.
God bless. Hope to see y'all soon.
And Eric Dalton says, Jeremy Ballrick, you are amazing. I love you, brother. Thank you very much, Eric. I love you too. And Michael Huck says, be safe for those in the path of the blizzard. DC801, Maryland never gets snow. It'll just rain. I have a truck and I'm doing 100
Oh,
miles per hour
jeez.
on residential streets. Have fun with that. And Michael Huck says, same here in Virginia. And Eric Dalton says, I don't care about any other team. Let's just do our job. Amen. All I can say is this been one hell of a roller coaster ride for us Lions fans, starting out 1-6, and everybody thought the sky was falling and that everyone was going to be fired and that everything was going bad. And lo and behold, those three things happened. We had the big turnaround. I don't think it was any one of them that made it any better. I think it was more the health, as Eric Sean brought up, than anything. But due to things that I've heard through my circles about the whole passing game coordinator thing, our corners were very confused about the coverage assignments that they had. That if this wide receiver went this way, then you drop off and the other one picks up, and it made it hard for them to understand the verbiage of the playbook, the way it was written up.
Yeah.
Eric Glenn simplified it, had the safeties coach take over the passing game defensive coordinator job, and it looks like a much more cohesive unit. Everybody looks like they know what they're doing now. Do they always perform it? No, but it is better than what we had through the first 7 games. Trading a Hawkinson, everybody says, oh man, the Lions are smiling in the season. They're giving up on a good player. If he was that freaking good, we'd have been winning with him instead of winning without him. That being said, this has been Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B. I want to say thank you to my guests, Shannon G. and Will Volko. And let's go Lions. Let's go Bengals. Let's see them get some wins and sneak in a wild card and come back in. And Eric Dalton says, Jeremy, love you. You and I were spot on in our prediction. We said we were, but I think we might get closer to that 10 than we thought. I'm not saying we're going to get the 10. But even at 9-8, if Green Bay loses because they have eight losses already, they're out. They're mathematically out.
Yep.
Eric Dalton says, Oriware is still lost. Why? I think Okuda doing as good as he was in the preseason and the offseason and doing everything that they did, I think it got in his head. Plus, he's more of a zone coverage corner, which is what he did at Penn State and everywhere else. And now we're more of a man coverage defense, and I think he's lost. And Mr. Sky the Bear said, I heard the wind made the ball drop faster than normal on that JMO play. You know, if you're talking about the play into the end zone, I saw JMO turn around and start to fall. The ball was directly on target for Jamison Williams' hands, even though he was falling. And DJ Reed got there in time to get his arm up in front of it. So all I can say is he was falling. He wasn't pushed. It wasn't pass interference. And it was a great play by a defensive player. I don't think anybody did anything wrong. But let's look forward to Friday for the Lions Man Cave chat. I look forward to seeing everybody there. We will start at 9:30 on Friday. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B. I want to say thank you to Bo Gagrius, Mr. Scotty the Bear, Eric Dalton, my dad, Ken Ballrick, Patty Grimes, Michael Huck, and all of you who commented tonight, including my buddy from work, Real Red. It was good to see you, brother. Have a great evening. And see you until next time.